G'day, I'm Agent Dad and we're going to explore this Dell Latitude 7320 detachable. It's a 13-inch 2-in-1 laptop from Dell and it's pretty much a Microsoft Surface Pro X replacement. Just more serviceable, but as of recording of this video, Surface Pro 8 came out and this is what I would say a Surface Pro 8, just a Dell version. And it still has a detachable keyboard as like before, and it also has that nice Really pen integrated with the type cover. So I really love this pen here and this design from Microsoft, and it's just this Dell version of it, so that's fantastic there. So we're going to have a look at the temperatures and fan noise of this computer. We'll have a quick look at some of the specs and also the features, and we'll also do the line jitter test on this computer here. Now we'll put in timestamps along this video so you can actually skip to the different sections that you may be interested in, just to help you save time. And we'll start off with what this computer can be configured with. So with the processor wise, it is using 11th gen Intel Core, and you can either get an i3, an i5 or an i7. Now as for the RAM wise, it can go up to a maximum capacity of 16 gigs, and it is soldered to the system board, so you need to make sure that you get the correct amount of RAM when you get this thing configured, because you can't upgrade it later on. Now as for the storage wise, it has one slot of M.2 NVMe SSD, and as for the graphics, if you got the i3 version, it is using Intel UHD graphics, and if you're got the i5 or the i7 version, it is using the Intel RSXe, which is a lot better in graphics wise. With the display, there's only one option this year, and it is a full HD and is rated at 500 nit of brightness. Now with 500 nit of brightness from my testing, it does absolutely great in shaded areas, and even in direct sunlight it does fine as well. So you should be happy to do a presentation in cafes. There is a 1080p webcam located on top, which is great. I've been asking for 1080p webcams for about 2 years now, and we've finally got a 1080p webcam. So I love seeing that Dell has finally been listening. This is a recording from the 1080p webcam from the Latitude 7320 detachable. This is the video and audio unedited, so you can hear and see what the quality of the webcam is like. As always, I've got two types of lights currently turned on. I've got one of my street lights turned on, and also the down lights of this room turned on as for ambience. Now I'm going to turn off my one studio light off, and you'll hopefully see this adjust. I have got two downlights in front of me and got two downlights behind me. Now the two downlights in front of me is quite far away, so there's not much light hitting on my face. So if you're in an office environment, you should actually get a lot better light than what I'm currently in. So this is what I would consider a dark environment. So I'm going to turn on my one studio light back on. You see that adjusts, and of course better quality light gives you better quality picture. Now I'd definitely love to hear what your thoughts are of this webcam. There's also an optional fingerprint scanner on the back right, and there of course is the world-facing camera for when you're in tablet mode. Let's have a look at the ports. Starting on the left hand side of the computer, we've got the security lock slot, Thunderbolt 4 port, which is USB type C, and it supports power delivery, the volume up and down keys, headphone jack. Looking at the top, we've got the power button. Looking on the right hand side of the computer, we've got a Thunderbolt 4 port, which is USB type C, and it does support power delivery. There are two speakers located on either side of the Latitude 7320 detachable. And when I tested out the maximum volume of these speakers, it managed to measure it in at 83.2 decibels. Now, that's about same measurements as an iPad Pro, but unfortunately, the speaker quality of the sound quality is not even close to an iPad Pro. And he's a bit where I can say there could be a lot of improvement. So the speakers are pretty much only sound on the highs. There's lacking of mids, and there's pretty much no bass at all. And so when I say the measurement at 83.2 decibels, that's all the highs. So when you're in practice and listening to these speakers, you actually do find you're struggling quite a bit to actually listen to these speakers. So if you're in a cafe doing presentation, you may be struggling to do presentation outdoors. Maximum volume audio quality of the Latitude 7320 detachable. The Latitude 7320 detachable comes with a 65 watt power adapter and it charges via the USB Type-C port. The battery it comes with is a 2-cell 40 watt-hour battery and it does support express charge. So what that means is it can charge the battery from 0 to 80% in 1 hour's time. Now I did perform my battery life test on this particular unit. This one's configured with an i5 and I tested my 5 different modes. So in best performance, it managed to get 2 hours. And in better performance, again, it also measured in at 2 hours. And when I tested it in better battery life mode, it managed to get 3 hours and 40 minutes. And in battery saving mode, it managed to get 4 hours and 30 minutes. And in my medium mode, it managed to get 6 hours and 30 minutes. So as just a disclaimer, my battery life test, I do put a consistent workload across all the system resources. And most applications don't put such a heavy workload and consistently on all the system resources. Usually it's just a burst speed or peak on the system resources, so you should get better numbers than what I'm quoting you. I'm just giving you the worst case scenario. The Dell Latitude 7320 detachable weight is 1.13 kilos. Add in the 65 watt power adapter, becomes a total weight of 1.45 kilos that you might be carrying around with you. As for the temperatures and fan noise of the Latitude 7320 detachable, when I put this computer on load, I found most of the heat is concentrated near the top left of the display. Now that's unsurprising, that's where the processor lays underneath. And when I took my measurement, my ambient temperature was 24 degrees Celsius and my ambient noise in the room was 37 decibels. Now just to give you a quick reference point, a human hand is around about anywhere between 33 to 35 degrees Celsius. So just to put that in mind so you can have a better idea on how hot this computer can get. I took the base measurement when the computer was on idle and the hottest area on the display measured in at 31 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, it measured in at 37 decibels. So that's silent. Then I put the computer on 20% load, so that's pretty much average use of tasks like office productivity work, streaming videos, surfing the web, and the hottest area on the display measured in at 34.5 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, it was still at 37 decibels. And then I put the computer on 50% load and the hottest area on the display measured in at 36 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, hit a maximum of 37 decibels. Then I put the computer on 100% load and the hottest area on the display measured in at 39 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, went all the way up to 45 decibels. I also measured the back of the tablet when the computer was at 100% load and the hottest area measured in at 46 degrees Celsius. And as for the fan noise, of course, it stayed at 45 decibels. So the actual back is quite hot and it does hear a bit of noise from the airflow. Measuring the color gamut coverage of the full HD display, it resulted with 100% sRGB coverage, 75.7% Adobe RGB coverage, and 80.4% DCI P3 coverage. Now the type cover on this Latitude 7320 isn't really much to talk about because it hasn't really changed from the Surface. If you ever played with a Surface type cover or the previous model of Latitudes with the type cover, this is practically the same. The only thing difference is the location of the pen, and that's pretty much about it. The loadless of the kickstand of the Latitude 7320 is quite low to the point where it actually detaches from the keyboard. And more than likely at this low angle, you probably would have this in tablet mode and not worry about having the type cover connected to, so you can do some nice drawings. There are 2 points of contact on the type cover for the charging of a digital pen, which means you don't have to worry about the orientation of this digital pen, and it is magnetic. The Latitude 7320 detachable does come with a digital pen. Now this digital pen's model number is PN7320A. Now this pen shape is more of a flat sort of style rather than a circular style. I would probably say this is very similar to a carpenter's pencil. Now I really like the shape of this style pen. compared to the circular style. It has a very nice feel to it and very good grip. I don't have any issues holding it and writing with it at all. So I definitely like this pen shape here. Now, when it is docked into the type cover, it does recharge it up. So you can see that is there and is magnetic. And there is one button, but it's really two buttons, one on top and one at the bottom, but it is one physical button. And you can of course customize this in Windows Pen software. So I'm going to do the line jitter test now. So now please beware, I'm not a digital artist, so please forgive me for my lines. So I'm just going to do my diagonal lines. I do have one palm on the display. And I'm going to bring in a ruler in. And then I'm just going to do some quick lines. And I'm going to do some horizontal slow lines. Some quick ones. The pen also has pen pressure as well. So I'm just going to do a light on the display. And I'm going to press a little bit harder and light again and harder again. And then of course I'm just using the buttons for the erase, as you can see. And we're going to have a look at the spirals. And the parallax is not bad at all. There's not much parallax on this, so it does feel pretty good. And I'm just going to do some writing as well. I think this digital pen with this Latitude 7320 is a great combination. I do like the feel of this, and I don't feel too bad on the display, and I don't find too much parallax on the display. So even taking notes or writing or even doing some drawings, this has a very nice feel to the pen. I did perform the benchmarks for this Dell Latitude 7320 detachable. Now this particular unit is configured with an i5 1140G7 with 16 gigs of RAM and 512 SSD. So I'll put up the scores for PassMark, Citybench R23, PC Mark, 3D Mark, Crystal Disk Mark, Geekbench 5, Eugene Engine, and SpecView Pref. And some gaming benchmarks like Far Cry New Dawn and Immortal Phoenix Rising. Overall, the Dell Latitude 7320 is a fantastic two-in-one. I can easily recommend to people who are looking for a Microsoft Surface Pro alternative. This is just more serviceable. Now, the only thing I don't like about this product is its name. I just wish Dell can give the Dell Latitude 7320 detachable a more unique name than that. I understand why they named it this way, but I like to see a little bit better naming schemes because it can be a little bit confusing. Now, I hope you find this video informative or enjoyed it, or even to support my channel, smack that like button. It does help me out. And if you haven't done already, subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button. I do try to upload a new video every week, and just remember, imperfections in life makes it beautiful and interesting. And I'll see you next video.